All right. Last story of the general wrestling news, which I'll probably end up making its own video. Like cut this from the segment and make it its own video because I think it's really going to be trending now. And that's this. The pit is the future of grappling. In this segment, I'm going to be talking about the UFC new, the UFC's new grappling show. I'm going to talk about the platform on which they're performing, and then I'm going to finish off with a quick synopsis of the story of William Tackett versus Craig Jones and CJI 2. So let's go. Starting off with the new UFC show, I believe Mike Musumeci is one of the coaches. Like I said, man, this guy, I don't like this guy. But if he can help other grapplers, if he can help them be better, if he can give them a platform, and as a personality move grappling forward, I'm not going to hate on that. I just don't like some of the things he does and says. And I think we're all allowed to have our own opinion here. Um, so this show was put together. I guess it's been a couple months in the making, and they've got a whole bunch of grappling stars to compete. And you have the Tackett brothers. I believe it's not William Tackett, but his brother, who's going to or has competed on the show. And the platform on which they compete, lo and behold, is a pit. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. It's called the Bowl. It's more like the pit, but it's more smooth. Am I even allowed to compare the two, or is there going to be some kind of UFC stop and desist? I'm just saying, UFC. I'm gonna watch your fucking matches. I'm gonna watch your YouTube show. It's gonna be on YouTube. But that bowl that they're using looks mighty familiar to what one might call the pit. And I know that the Karate Combat and UFC, they are working together. They have exchanged talent. And they've also done some, I don't want to say co-promoting, but I know that there's been talks about using the up only gaming system that the Karate Combat app uses. I know there's been the allowing of like active UFC fighters to compete, you know what I mean? And vice versa. The KC fighters going to UFC. So these are all good things. So them using the bowl and not using the trademarked pit is a strange choice. Now they have their own thing that they're going to trademark. Okay, fine. Do your thing. That's okay. But I think that in itself, that you have a curved wall, pool-like platform to compete in, is just another step toward it being the future of grappling. This is the platform that doesn't allow push-outs. There's no fucking need for resets. It's not you don't want to be near the edges because you can't stall up against the wall. You can't stay standing up against the wall because it's slanted or curved, however this you would try to describe the bowl. If you get toward the edges, you are taken down. You will fall over. So it pushes the pace of the match. It pushes them to go at it in the middle as opposed to lulling toward the edge. But at the same time, conversely, it allows more mobility around the sides where you can cut corners. It's less hard to be like cut off in a ring because you have this slanted wall that you can run across. So, but when you're grappling, you're trying to get into one another, grab one another, and then put to the ground and finish the match. So not a lot of that has been used, but there's been interesting ways that people have been using the elevation of that elevated slanted wall where Craig Jones did a flying triangle. There was two flying triangles of note, and they'll be on the screen here, and they were able to have been executed the way they were because of that elevated slanted wall. There's a lot of things that allow the pit to be a superior viewing experience for spectators, where it's a pit downward, yes, but now instead of being like eye level and looking at basically nothing, unless you're pit side, you could just chill on the side and see everything inside, or bull side, I guess, in this particular scenario. The spectators are put on stands that are elevated upward, also at a slant, like you could say, like bleachers, basically. But in karate combat, there's no place to sit; it's all standing room, which gives more room to chill. It's like a very like party, chill, watch this fight, you know what I mean, kind of atmosphere. That allows you to look down and in to the pit, which is way better than, the cage, which can be such a pain to see depending on where you're sitting or where the fighting is taking place. Is it on the other side, and the pillar that I'm sitting in front of is just like, or they're on that pillar right there, where the cages connect, or sometimes where they are against the cage. It just becomes sometimes a pain in the ass. Same thing with the ring. The elevated platform, I've discussed, like, some people play the edge so that they don't get pushed out, or force the player that's center of the platform to play more conservatively. It should force you more actions in the middle, but it just ends up making people more cautious and not willing to use explosiveness. And that's why sometimes you see more explosive athletes in those competitions surprising their athletes and winning or taking a dominant position because of that awkward risen platform in the back of your head. I might fall off and I get hurt type shit, So that doesn't happen in the bowl or the pit. So this is going to be the future, in my opinion. There's not going to be all these resets that you see at Naga and Grappling Industries and ADCC, and are they going to reset them, or they're not going to reset them now, or they're just going to let them go and scrap for a while. It's like, it is what it is. Having a mat, it has its pros and cons. Everything has its pros and cons, but this is slowly becoming the future of grappling, with trendsetters like Karate Combat, CJI, and now the UFC. Now, last part of this story is the whole problem between William Tackett and Craig Jones. It's not like that's anything personal from what I understand, but William Tackett is not competing in this next CJI 2. If you don't know who William Tackett is, he's one of the lauded competitors of the first CJI, of the absolutely stacked under 80 kilograms, first athlete to ditch ADCC last year and go over to CJI to compete for the $1 million. His brother also competed in the over 80 kilograms. They both lost, but they both had absolutely fantastic matches, and the matches that happened in the under 80 were absolute fireworks. The reason why I want to bring up Will here is he's a really wrestling-based athlete. Now, I don't know his credentials on wrestling, but his wrestling is pretty good, and it ended up being like very wrestling heavy in his matches. Unfortunately, he didn't take the $1 million, but we did see another catch wrestler, Cade Rotullo, take that take that nil, training under Eric Paulson as well as Andre Galvao. And his whole thing is that he doesn't really have a team to compete in CJI 2. CJI 2 being a team-based competition, basing itself on the quintet style of competition, which was Once again, as I always like to shout them out, created by Josh Barnett and Sakuraba, 2 catch wrestlers. So that's a catch wrestling competition. You're welcome. So they're doing a catch style competition. I should just say that in quintet. And see, William doesn't have a team. He can be sort of associated with Checkmat, but he's not going to really be on a team. And he felt that like he wasn't going to have like a really good chance to win that $1 million that now he has to split between the teammates. Conversely, he has the opportunity to compete several times in a year, guaranteed pay, in this UFC promotion. And he's going to be able to compete multiple times. And he just felt like it was better a financial situation for him. Now, Craig Jones, on the other hand, has been basically trashing grappling competitors that are going full exclusive contract for whatever promoter. And I understand the reason why a promoter would have someone be exclusive, but I also understand Craig Jones's point. If you look at, I'm going into my hip hop. Wu-Tang Clan refused to have an exclusive contract with their 9 members. It has to be non-exclusive. And then all 9 members ended up having solo albums, but at various different other labels and publishers. And that non-exclusive contract absolutely benefited them. And they got the best pay they could have gotten, the best production they could have gotten, because they caused the various record labels and, overarching labels and industry reps to compete over them to publish their albums. So, one might be from Def Jam, but the other ones might be from Interscope, and another one might be, that allows them to be artists, because that's what they are as hip-hop MCs. Now, we look at fighters, we don't look at them as artists. We look at them, we just got to sign them. They got to, make them fight, little gladiators. But they're artists too, and they're honing their craft, and they should be able to make the people that are paying them compete if we're going to be in a capitalist society. But, like I was saying, I understand the other side. This is your product. You need to protect your product. You need to protect your company image. You need to make sure that your competitors are going to be safe and available to compete on your cards that you're promoting and trying to make money off of. So I see both sides. And, there's a lot of tension, but William Tackett dropped an excellent video. I felt it was really disarming, making sure it was very also diplomatic. He's not shitting on anyone. I think everything he said was logical. He's like, Craig Jones is kind of shitting on UFC, so I don't really want to go over there and bite the hand that's feeding me right now and make them look bad. But at the same time, he does enjoy CJI. He pushed people to buy tickets. He likes where it's going, and if they did another singles tournament, he would definitely enter. So I think all's well that ends well with the whole William Tackett versus Craig Jones. But I think all those strings, CJI, William Tackett, him saying, I can't wait to compete in this UFC competition because of their UFC Bowl trademark, copyright, and I think that is all tying back to Karate Combat and the pit and how good of a stage it is to compete, but also like spectate. And so there are some videos out there that I'll put up on screen that really talk about this in depth, and I think have really great points that I touched on lightly here, and you should go check them out. But with that being said, I think that is the end of that story. If you have something to say about the pit, something to say about the bowl, what do you think about it as a platform for competition? What do you think about the new UFC competition show that they're doing? I think it's cool that they're making it available on YouTube for free. This is, once again, that is going to be the model of shows competitions. You know what I mean? Even like pay-per-views, they're not going to do that anymore. They're going to do live streams, and it's going to be on platforms like YouTube, Kick, blah blah blah, where they're going to like let people see this for free at least the first time. You know what I'm saying? Or have it available in perpetuity for free, because that only just encourages more people to watch. Go back and watch it. Go back and watch it for free. Show other people. Send this to you. It's free. You don't even have to go buy this or go blah, blah, blah. I'll just send you the link to your phone. You can watch it while you're in a train ride, while you're home, while you're in the toilet. So, what's stopping you from watching this? So that's also just one note I wanted to add there as an addendum before I end this segment is, guys, moving forward, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on an online platform streaming free. And then it's going to be the sponsors, the ticket sales, the various ads that you run that's going to be making the money moving forward. And maybe even crypto, you know what I mean? Like some kind of crypto foundation that people can invest in to help be basically stakeholders in your promotion company, whatever. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, I mean, even Wrestling Wars 9 has been streaming them for free, and they're getting so many views because it's free, it's available. I don't have to go, I've never heard this thing before. I mean, I heard it was good maybe from like a friend, but I don't have to go on like Triller or Fight Pass and buy a ball. Now I gotta buy Fight Pass and I gotta pay the, it's free on YouTube, available to watch whenever you want. Once again, plug out to Headhunter Higgins and Wrestling Wars. What are your thoughts? Are you going to watch the show? What do you think about the bowl? You know what I mean? Is that just a blatant ripoff of the pit? And you know what I mean? Allegedly. And is that, okay? Like, are you all right with it? Or should, KC, Karate Combat, and CJI get some credit? And last but not least, who do you think is right about the whole like exclusive contract? Should he not be exclusive? He's looking out for himself, so I support William Tackett. You got to look out for yourself. You know what I mean? No one else is going to. You got to make your money. It's consistent. It makes sense. He made a really rational argument. But who's right about the exclusive contracts? Like, just because he did what was right for him, is that right for the sport? Should we be fighting for non-exclusive contracts, being able to spread the sport? Sound off in the comments below. So with that, now is the Eggman, the end of the segment. And we're moving on to our final little segments here. We've got Creator Spotlight up next.